I don't know. Okay, the recording should have started. The recording has started, I guess. Some people have their hands raised. I don't know why. Basit, Bolaji, Righteous, TJ. Why? Just send it. Send a message in the chat box if you have your hands raised. Please, people that keep raising their hands. Hello?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, so if you have your hands raised, just send a message in the chat box. TJ Su, Basit, I would just assume you guys don't have anything to say. I have no idea where your hands are up. Anyways, I'm sure you guys can hear me and see me. So I'm just going to get started. Yeah, I'm recording this. I'm recording this meeting. I'm recording this meeting and I'm going to be very quick and I'm going to be very fast. I forgot to come with a pen and a book, so I'll be using my phone. Um, yeah, right. So I'll be sharing my screen. I'll be sharing my whole screen. So sometimes it might look like it's a lot on the screen. Just be patient. It's will get to where it's going to. Yeah, I'll just share my entire screen. So yeah, this is what we're going to be following. So right, this this class, I'm going to be following this particular course. I've dropped this course for a while on the Melambi trading group since last session. And the course, the link to this particular drive is on the link to this particular drive is on the Melambi trading group description. So if you I would have gone to my WhatsApp, but I'm not really sure of the kind of messages that are there. So if you go to the Melambi trading group, just go to the group description. You will see the link to this particular course there, and it's basically everything that you need. So I'm going to be running down this course as fast as I can, so that in subsequent classes we can get to more important um discussions and more important concepts because basically I have not put the part two of this course. I would upload it this week. So but the part one is there for everybody that is like a beginner. You have no idea about what trading is, you don't know what trading is at all, you have no prior knowledge, right? This particular course on the Menabi trading Menabi trading group is for you the link to the course is on the description of the group. So just go there and get it, and then you can just follow with it. So there's one folder here. Okay, this folder has two files. It has a PDF and it has a book, Candlestick Trading Bible. I would advise that you go to this first, the part one, open it, and then you will see all important stuff. Let me open Google Docs instead. So you see all the important stuff there. So when you open this um file, this is the message that you're going to, this is, sorry, this is what you're going to get. I'm going to give me a minute. This is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to get on the, what do you call it now? This is what you're going to get, sorry, in that document. This is what that document is about. This is what is in the document, right? So you have the part one of the course. The part one of the course there. I have no idea why it's not showing as a link. It's supposed to be YouTube links instead. Okay, let me go from here then. So what is trading, right? Trading is a lot of things, right? But trading is still one single concept. So I'll be following this. So you can go right now to this particular place on the Melanie Trading Group and get this document. It has a lot of YouTube videos, straight to the point YouTube videos. I make sure to find them and make sure that they're very straightforward and short. So just go there and get this because I'm going to be following this. So you will not be asking me that where am I getting what I'm saying from, right? So I'm going to start from here. I just think I should stop sharing my screen now and just talk. All right. Okay. Someone shared the Google Drive link on the chat box. So please just go to the chat box and get it straight from there. Go to the chat box and get it straight from there. Okay. All right. So what is trading? Trading is the same thing with every other concept, right? It's buying and selling, exchange of one commodity for another commodity, right? That's the basic concept and basic idea of what trading is. But we live in a digital world now, so trading is not only a concept that is like, okay, I have yam, I will give you this, or I have money, give me this. You get, trading is much broader than that. That's just to throw it out there of what trading in itself is. So when we get to come and give me a minute. Okay. Then when we get to foreign exchange, right, which is the core of what this trading class is going to be focused on. So what is foreign exchange? Foreign exchange is exchange of basically currencies. That's the short way to explain it. Foreign exchange is the exchange of currencies, right? So if you have ever traveled before, or you have, okay, I'm sure most of us have had to change money for one reason or the other, right? So you hear things like, okay, dollar don't high, or dollar don't low, that kind of thing. Like what is happening there is actually called foreign exchange. So if you are traveling to America, for instance, from Nigeria, you cannot travel to America with naira. I mean, why? Why you can't travel to America with naira? Because you can't spend naira in America. So money is like an acceptable means of exchanging, an acceptable means of exchange, rather. So if you cannot carry naira to America to go and spend, what would you have to do? Change your naira to dollar, right? So now there's something called an exchange rate, right? There's something called an exchange rate, and the exchange rate is the amount you pay. to change one currency to another currency, right? So you hear things like, okay, you get to the Nigerian airport, you are going to America, you want to change your naira to dollars, right? And you get in there with, let's say, 160,000 naira. You go with 160,000 naira, and you're like, okay, I have 160,000 naira. Oh. How much is 160,000 naira going to get me? And then they'll be like, oh, it's just $100. Why is it just $100? Why did my 160,000 naira, plenty 160,000 naira like that? I see big bundle. How did it become one note? Well, it's because of the exchange rate. So the exchange rate is like they can tell you that okay, the exchange rate is 1,600. So that means that for $1 you get 1,600 naira. Or you will need, or to get $1 you will need 1,600 naira. So obviously it will mean that if you have 160,000 naira, you have $100. That's a basic concept. I think everybody should understand that concept. It's a very straightforward, very easy concept to grasp, right? So that's what foreign exchange is. But now the world has become a very global market, a very big global digital market, right? And now that the world has become that, exchange can be done digitally, right? So some people, some set of people thought about it that, oh, okay, what if like we can bet on the difference, just for the lack of better word. What if you can bet on the difference? Like, okay, 2 years ago, I mean, or some couple of years ago, I remember when I was in secondary school, naira to dollar was like 300 naira. But now naira to dollar is like 1.6, 1.7. It got to 1.9 at some point, 1.8 at some point, 1.5, 1.4. So some set of people thought about it like, okay, what if like we bet on that difference? Like we buy when it's low, we sell when it's high. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So it's like, okay, sorry about that. I have naira, right? Or I have dollars, right? But now the dollar I have is just $100. Now my $100, the exchange rate is 300 naira. That means that if I have $100, if I want to change it to naira, I will just be getting 30,000 naira. Hmm. What if I wait when it becomes more expensive? So now, if the exchange rate now increases to 315 naira, that would mean that that same $100 that you had that was at 300 naira would have given you 30,000 naira. When you have when the exchange rate now becomes 315 naira, that's it, that money that was once 30,000 naira will now be 35,000 naira. So you have gained 5,000 naira different, right? That is basically what the forex market is about. That is basically what the forex market is about. The forex market is about buying and selling currencies at their different prices. So unlike investing, right, where you are like, oh, okay, Basit Bolaji, Righteous, Ajana, John, TJ Suni, you guys have your hands raised and it's kind of distracting. If you have anything to say, put it on the chat box. Right. So it's like, okay, now you have as I was saying, now that's exactly the concept of what the foreign exchange market is, right? So it's literally buying a currency when it's cheaper, selling it when it's higher. That's the entire concept. Or that's the entire concept, to be very fair. That's the backbone of what we try to do with the foreign exchange market. So now instead of like, oh, BTC, you buy BTC and you hold it, right? That's the difference between investing and trading now. You buy BTC, you hold it. When BTC becomes more expensive, so when BTC becomes more expensive, you sell it, you gain your profit. But when it loses value, when it sells from where you bought it from, you lose money, right? Now, that's a different thing. That's what makes trading different from investing. Because trading, you are actively involved in the process. You can make money buying, you can make money selling. As far as you are right in your analysis, you analyze the fact that, oh, okay, this is going to be expensive in the future. So you buy now so that you can sell when it's expensive. Oh, this is going to be cheaper in the future. Okay, you get, then you sell it. You get my point. That's the exact ideology of trading compared to investing. Investing like buying stocks and things like that, you buy it for the future. Okay, I'm buying it now. In the future, it becomes more expensive. I cash out big on my money. I buy Tesla stocks when Tesla is at, let's say, $50 per stock. Tesla becomes $350 per stock. You've made a lot of money, and you live with your gain basically. That's exactly what stock trading is about. Not stock trading, like investment or investing is about. You buy Solana, you buy Bitcoin, you buy all these things, Ethereum. When they're at a certain price, you sell it at a certain price, you make your profit. Yes, but trading is like you're trying to okay, you're trying to it's like you're trying to predict if it's going to be cheaper or more expensive, and then you react based on that information. So now moving on from there, um, who are the big players in the forex market? So think about it. If the foreign exchange market is about exchange of currencies, who do you think the big players are? Very simple. The big players are the central banks, right? The central banks of different individual countries are the big players. For instance, in Nigeria now, the CBN kind of determines the exchange rate of the country, right? They can decide to float the exchange rate. They can decide to peg the exchange rate. During Buhari's time, I think I said this in the last time I took this class as well. During Buhari's time, the reason why the naira and dollar rate was not as high as it was right now was because the administration pegged it. So they do something where they can peg the country. Okay, the central bank of the country can feel like, okay, you know what, I want I want the value of my currency, or this based on what I have seen in the way the currency is worth. Let's put the naira at 850 naira per dollar, right? And they will just peg it there, right? But the bad thing about pegging your country's currency is that investors will not be willing to invest in your country, and that's why a lot of FDIs, foreign direct investment, were not really present during Buhari's administration. Why would you not get a lot of foreign direct investment? You will not get a lot of foreign direct investment because of the fact that investors are not confident in your country, in the value of your country's economy, or in the value of your country's currency, because they feel like, okay, it's an artificial price. You put it there, it's not the real value of. It's like saying, it's like sorry to use this analogy, but it's like, okay, it's like having a girl, right? And then you put makeup on her. That's what the CBN does. The CBN puts makeup on the currency, and then you're not looking for suitors for the girl. Like, I see this girl is a very, very fine girl. Look at her now. She's a very fine girl. Come and marry her now. Come and be her boyfriend. But you, as an investor or potential boyfriend, will be like, no, this is makeup I'm seeing here. This is not the true value of, or this is not really who this girl is. Clean the makeup, let's know. Okay, you get. So when the Tinubu administration came inside, they floated the naira, they depegged it. So they depegged it, meaning that, okay, they removed the fixed price, and they were like, okay, let's know the value of what our country's currency is. Let's float our country's currency. Let the market determine what the currency of our country is, and then things started skyrocketing. It went from, I think, 700 naira, 800 naira, 1K, 1.5, 1.4, 1.7, 1.8. We're just going like that, going like that, going like that. That's why the central bank at some point had to go after some brew change, had to go after some crypto platforms that they felt were also aiding in disrupting the whole process, right? So that is what the foreign exchange market is all about, and that is who the big players are. So the big players are always the central banks or the very, very big banks. Like in America, you have banks like JP Morgan, you have banks like Bank of America. These are banks that yeah, JP Morgan Chase. These are banks that determine the economy of many countries. These are banks that borrow countries' money. These are banks that borrow the IMF money, International Monetary Fund. These are banks that are involved in very big monetary scale. I think Jamie Damon, I think that's his name. Yeah, Jamie Dimon is the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. JP Morgan Chase is a bank in America. He was saying something. Saw him in a video talking about the fact that they have about a $1 trillion transaction every day. Every day, the bank JP Morgan Chase does the transaction of about $1 trillion. If I am not mistaken, if that was the exact word he used. So that's why the market capitalization of the foreign exchange market is the biggest. It's bigger than the crypto market. It's bigger than any other market you can think about because obviously it's the foreign exchange market. It's the market that involves countries. So every day the foreign exchange market does about $6 trillion in transactions, $6 to $9 trillion in transactions. So I mean, if the foreign exchange market does $6 trillion, why not see $100? Yeah, but like, don't mind me. I'm coming. Give me a minute. So yeah, that's that about that, right? So those are the big players. So how exactly do I make money? That's the next thing on the course. How exactly do you make money? Very simple. You make money by buying and selling. That's literally how we make money, by buying and selling. So now I use the example of the naira and the US dollar, right? Now in the foreign exchange market, we have other big, bigger and more important and more sophisticated economies, right? Like Europe, Europe, America, Asia. There are countries that have more economic power and economic say when it comes to the decision of economic policies in the world because of the amount of money that circulates in those economies every single day, right? So you have Europe as a whole, you have Britain, because European Britain is no longer in the, let's say, EU. Yeah, Britain is no longer in the EU, basically. So you have you have Britain, you have Europe, you have America, you have Asia. Obviously, you have Asia, you have like the Bank of Japan, the BOJ, very big, very powerful bank. You have China, you have um countries in Australia, countries like that, Canada. But you have countries like that. I'm coming, give me a minute, someone call me. They are more important. Coming, just give me a minute. Yeah, sorry. We have other countries that are like very important in the grand scheme of things. So just to put that out there, very important in the grand scheme of things. So I mean, if these countries are important in the grand scheme of things, like I always ask myself that in all of these big transactions that are made, where's Africa? That's crazy. We don't have one single representation when it comes to the big boys. Let me just put that. Let me say that the big boys. Let me just call it that. Right. So back to the course. Yeah. So what are currency pairs? Okay. Yeah. Now currency pairs basically is a pair of currencies. right? Is when you pair two currencies together. So the Nigerian naira or the US dollar against the Nigerian naira, that's a pair. There you get, that's a pair. So let me quickly share my screen. So yeah. So if you look at this chart, you see something right here where my arrow is pointed, right? You can see, okay, let me go to Forex. Let me, so you see different pairs. So this is what pairs are: USD JPY, United States dollar, Japanese yen, Euro USD, British pounds, US dollar, US dollar, Japanese yen, British, like this is what they call New Zealand dollar. These are what Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. These are what they call currency pairs. That's why they are called pairs, because they are two currencies paired together. There are two currencies paired together, right? So we have them like that. That's why they are called pairs, currency pairs. So this is what we trade. Like me, I trade mainly the Euro USD. I bring this out here. You can see these are all the pairs that I look at, that I watch. This is the dollar index. Dollar index is not a pair, right? The dollar index is like the dollar. The dollar index is like a tool for assessing the strength or weakness of the US dollar in relation to a basket of major currencies. So it's like, okay, against other currencies, how is the US dollar performing? That's why it's called the dollar index. So this is what the dollar index is, right? This is the dollar index. It is not a pair. Then we have pair like the Euro USD, which I mostly trade, which is the the euro, sorry, the euro against the dollar. Then we have the Great British pounds against the US dollar. Against the US dollar. Then we have euro against the Great British pounds. We have Australian dollar against the US dollar. We have Great British pounds against the Japanese yen. Then US dollar against the Canadian dollar. I don't trade everything. I only trade EU and GU. Those are the only two pairs that I trade, EU and GU, right? I just watch the others because of reasons I will explain much later in the future. So those are what pairs. Those are what pairs are basically. Those are what pairs are basically. So let me give me a minute. So back to the course. So yes, all these videos all these things I just explained right now, there are videos on it on that particular link. So you can go to the link and watch all the videos. They're very short videos. You can get through all of them in a day. To be very honest, you can get through all of them in a day, just like 2 hours, and get through all of them. Very easy, very straightforward. So moving on to the next. What are trading sessions? Right. I'm trying to be very fast with this big, like this very, very beginner level or like entry level stuff, because of the main reason that there are very more important things to talk about and very important concepts. And a lot of people have also been waiting on the group to learn about those concepts. And I'm just taking them back a lot. So I'm trying to be very up to speed with this. But as I said, if you watch those videos, you get very up to speed. It's like the most basic things. Everything that you need is there. Every single thing. You can just reach out to me and ask questions. I will always be willing to respond. But everything that you need is there. Every single thing that you need is there. Don't ask stupid questions, dude. Don't ask questions without watching the videos. Watch the videos and then you can ask your question. So yeah, I think I've said everything in the part in that first half. Then second, then what are trading sessions? Now remember that I said that first of all, the big players are the big banks and the central banks. Those are the big players, right? Secondly, remember that I also said that there are countries or economies that are more important than others because of the fact that those economies transact more money than some other economies. So in the foreign exchange market, there's something that we call majors. There's something that we call majors. So they are, sorry, there's something that they call majors. And the major currencies, or not currencies basically, they are major peers, right? But I said some regions are better than the other. Some come give me a minute. Yeah, so there are some economies that are more important than other economies, right? And there are some regions that are more important than some other regions. So America as a region is the singular most important region in the entirety of the world. Then Europe is next, then Asia, and then I'm coming. Then Sydney, that's Australia, right? That's that's Australia. That's Australia. So we have those four regions that are like very important when it comes to transacting of money in the economic world. So now, if these four regions are important, so now if these four regions are the most important, and I said that the big players are the banks, right? So when you link it, when you link those two concepts, or when you link those two ideas, you understand why we get forex sessions, or why we get sessions or trading. Sorry, you understand why we get sessions that are very important. So we have four very important sessions. We have the Asian session, we have the Sydney session. Yeah, I think you should write this down, but everything should be in those videos. We have the Asian session, the Sydney session, the Europe session, or the London session. You can call it the London session too, because the Bank of England is like the BOE as it's called, the most important bank in that region. Then followed by the ECB, European Central Bank, and then we also have the New York session, of course, where the big boys exist on Wall Street, where the big boys exist on Wall Street, right? So yeah, that's those are the four major trading sessions that we have, right? You have the European session. Come on, let me see if I can. So these are the four major sessions that we have: European session, New York session, Asian session, Sydney session. So if these are the four four sessions that are important, these are where we tend to focus on the most, depending on the pair that you are trading, right? So most of these sessions, that's why they also say that the forex market never sleeps. It never sleeps because most of these sessions overlap each other, right? And then more movement happens when banks in these areas open up. For instance, now the first session that opens every Sunday, right, is the Sydney session. It opens Sunday Nigerian time, but it's already Monday in Australia. So 8 a.m. on 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, the Sydney session is open, right? Which is going to be around 11 p.m. here in Nigeria, right? So the forex market is open. Forex market is already opened by Sydney session on Sunday, and it doesn't close until Friday. Until Friday, it doesn't close until Friday. So now when the Sydney session opens, right, that means the banks in Australia are open to start transacting money, right? So the Sydney session is open. It overlaps with the Asian session. You get then overlaps with the London session, and then the last to open obviously is the New York session. So it open like that. It's open like that every day, every day, every day, every day till Friday again. So from Sunday to Friday, the foreign market also open. This is already 8:39. So the forex market will soon be open. Maybe in about 2 hours, I guess. In about 2 hours, it should be open. So that's the idea of trading sessions, right? So now, if you're trading a pair like Euro USD, so Euro against the dollar, right? Where is your focus going to be? Obviously, the New York and the London session, or the European session, as it might be called. Let me rephrase that. Let me put that. I can also call it the London session. So the London session, European session, and the New York session will be your major focus. If you are trading a pair like Euro USD, that's where you are. That's when you should be on the chart. If you have no business being on the chart in the midnight when the Asian session is open, you have no business being on the chart there because the pair will not even be moving. That's the truth. There will be very, very low movement because the banks in those regions are closed. The market is open, but the banks are closed. So there's no really big transactions going on. Right. So the market will be really, really dull till the banks reopen again in the morning. So you get if you are trading a pair like USD JPY, if you are income. I'm coming. Give me a minute. I'm trying to sort something out. So just give me a minute. I'm trying to get something done. 7297. Yeah, so sorry. If you're creating a pair like the USD JPY, right? USD Japanese yen. You want to focus on the New York session and the Asian session. You have no business in the London session. Do you get my point? So that is exactly what Forex peers are, right? That's exactly what peers are, trading peers are. Or that's the basic idea of sessions, that's the basic idea of peers, so on and so forth. So let me look for what's next. What applications are relevant? Very good. Download Trading View on your phone. Now, download Trading View now. Trading View. So let me tell you the ones that are important. Trading View, obviously. MT5, obviously. And then Forex Factory. Forex Factory is not a web, it's not an app. They have an app though, but the web is always better to use. Forex Factory. Oh, or my FX book. My FX book is also it's a better option than Forex Factory. It's more comprehensive. So what is Forex Factory? Let me share my screen. So Forex Factory is this is what Forex Factory is. We use it for the economic calendar. Basically, we use it for the economic calendar to know what is going on in the economic world. So this is what Forex Factory is. These are very important news events that will be happening in the economic world this week. Okay, for instance, on Monday, Italian bank holiday there will be Italian bank holiday on Monday. And on the same Monday, the US dollar will have ISM manufacturing PMI, which is a news event. The Fed chair Powell. Fed chair is the chairman of the Federal Reserve, which is like the Central Bank of America. His name is Jerome Powell. So he will be speaking on Monday, 6 p.m. on Monday. Tuesday, we have job openings reports, like that, like that, like that. So many news events that happen on the economic calendar. So this is very, very important because it affects the forex market. It affects the foreign exchange markets for a bunch of a lot of reasons. A lot of reasons. For instance, if the CBN governor in Nigeria is speaking, it will affect the naira and dollar rates now. So that's why these people, they're very important people. They have to be very careful with the things that they say. They have to be. You can't see Jerome Powell in a party or in the club, all these kind of things, because people are looking like you have to be sharp. You have to be very careful of the words that you use. In fact, they have like speech writers and all those kind of things to make sure that investors are not they can't just talk. That's the thing. They can't just say anything. They can't just come out and be like, Okay, like somebody asked them a question like, okay, sorry sir, good afternoon. Where do you think where do you think the interest rate of America is going next? He can't just be like, oh, let's see about that. If he says let's see about that, investors might be like, the Jerome Powell is not sure what the net interest rate is going to be, or Jerome Powell is it sounds this, it sounds that. People take those people's words very, very critically because money is on the line. A lot of billions of dollars is on the line. So you barely see them outside, you barely see them taking interviews. And anytime they have like interviews, anytime they have things they want to say, it always puts out there so that people can hear what they want to. That's why we have that news event on Monday, 6 p.m. So Jerome Powell is going to be speaking on Monday, and traders will be, watching out to see what he has to say. We have non-farm payrolls on Friday. Very important, very busy week on the economic calendar. So that's why you need the economic calendar. What do you need trading view for? I think I just showed you my trading view. So trading view is basically for analysis, right? You go there to analyze the market. You go there to see what the market is saying, see the candlesticks on different time frames, on the daily, on the weekly, whatever, whatever, whatever. That's what trading view exists. What trading view exists for, right? That's what trading view exists for. The MT5 is the one you have on your phone where you actually carry trades from. So I don't. Okay, let me see if I can show my MT5. Okay, so here on my phone is, I also have trading view on my phone, Sha. So here on my phone is my MT5. So you can see my trades. I'm currently taking a loss on GU. The trade was from last week Friday, but the market is closed now. So I mean, you can see the loss. I see the loss right there. So yeah, this way you actually take trades on MT5. So when the market opens, I'll see maybe it hits my stop loss or not, but it is whatever. So yeah, those are the three applications that are most important. Okay, very good. Those are the three applications that are most important, right? And what else? Okay, what is a pip? Pip, lot size, stop loss. Okay, now we're getting into the very interesting part. What is a pip? I don't know if I should take that today, but I will. I will, just so that we can move very, 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 just so that we can move very fast. So what is a pip? Right? A pip is the smallest unit of a currency move. The smallest unit of price movement. So now let me explain. Let me explain properly. Let me take my time to explain properly. Right? So you know how I said that the naira to dollar exchange rate is currently 1,600. That's the same way the euro and the dollar also has their own exchange rate. Right? So now the exchange rate of the let me look for a link here. Very good. The exchange rate of the euro to the dollar is currently one. You can see it here, this red part that I'm circling. It's currently 1.13463. So ideally, sorry, ideally that means that if you have if you have $1 right? And you want to exchange $1 to euros, you will be getting 1.13463 euros. I mean, nobody's going to give you 1.13. Let's just say that it is $1 to €1 if you are going to do a physical exchange, right? But I said that we live in a digital world now. So now there are some figures that are at the back of that. Like now, if you ask somebody that, okay, if you want to go to let's say you go to the bank, or you go to the airport and you have euro and you want to change your euro to dollar, they'll most probably give you $1 for €1, right? But in the real indicator of things, right? The euro is worth more than the dollar, right? The pound is also worth more than the dollar, right? But it is worth 1.1. So that means for $1, you'll be getting €1.1. If you go to the British pounds, you will see, hmm, interesting. If you go to the pounds, you will see something different there, right? The pound is it's currently 1.13, right? So that means if you have if you have $1, you get 1.3, sorry, you get 1.3 pound, you get 1.3 pounds, right? So concept. That's the basic concept of that's the basic concept of the exchange rate. But now that is when you go to the that is when you go to the bank, or you go to the airport, or whatever. But if you come when we come to the digitalized world, there are more figures at the back, and those figures are actually what we trade, right? Those tiny movements are actually what we trade. So that means for $1, you will get 1.343456 pounds, right? So what we do is that we bet on this movement, or we try to predict this movement. Now, unlike being in the bank or being in the airport, in the real sense of things, everyday transactions, these figures move. These figures at the back, they move they move a lot. Sure, you get. So this okay, how many figures? This is one, two, three, four, five. One. How many decimal is that about? One, two, three, four, five. This fifth one, this three, is called a pipette, right? Is People don't really it's called a pipette, sha. It's called a pipette, but it's really of no importance. People like to count from the fourth decimal place. So this six here is a pip. So in this figure, the six is a pip, right? So, and that is the smallest unit. So for every pip movement, you will say, oh, okay, the pound has moved one pip. So if the pound moves one pip, right? If this is the current price, and they say that, oh, the pound has moved one pip. Well, for those of you that are like very conversant with forex conversations, you'll be like, guy, how many pips you chop? I chop 4 pips, I chop 50 pips. This is what they mean, right? So if the pound moves one pip, that means the the new price will be 1.3457. If it moves another one, it will be 1.3458. So that means it is moving up by one pip. So it will be moving like that, moving like that, moving like that, moving like that. When it gets to 9, then when it gets to 10, it will add to the next one. It will now be 1.3460. Sure, you get. That is now making it a 10 pip movement. Sure, you get. So that's the explanation of that's a very quick explanation of a pip. But pip is already the fourth decimal. That fifth one is called a pipette. It's very inconsequential. this is a the fourth decimal place is a pip. So each movement, so if it's minus one pip, it will be 1.3455. So I don't know if I'm making sense. If you're understanding what I'm saying, just react. You can just react, send like thumbs up or whatever. Just react. Let me know if people that yeah. Okay, that's perfect. So that's very simple, easy just explanation of what a pip is, right? So it's like those tiny figures at the back. You can see them in the digital world, but they cannot see it in the bank. Like so, the bank, if you want to go and exchange money in the bank is not going to give you 1.3456. Share you get. Oh, that's so crazy. The current exchange rate is actually 1.3456. Wow, that's insane. 3456. Wow, that's nice. So yeah, that is simple definition. John, if you have anything to say, John Fabayo, please put it in the chat box. Except you're not even listening to me because I've been seeing your hand raised for a while, and I've been saying put whatever I want to say in the chat box or put your hand down. So yeah, that's what a PP is. So it's very simple explanation. The very simple. So sometimes when I come to the group, sometimes if I'm in the mood, I can just drop a trade analysis and I just be like, put your stop loss at 50 pips, 50 pips below the entry price, or here you get, or if it's a sell, 50 pips above the entry price. Here you get. So that's what the PP is. Very simple explanation, but there are still videos to properly explain, you know, what a pip is. Sure you get on that Google Drive link. Then what is a lot size? Now I think we're getting into the big boy conversations. So I think we've consumed a lot of information tonight. I think we've consumed a lot of information tonight, and I don't want to overload you guys with information, to be very fair. I don't want to overload you guys with information. So we'll treat we'll treat the remaining part later in the week, or I can I can I can I'll drop videos. I'll drop videos explaining it. But like the explanations are there, but I will explain it myself. Maybe I finally even get to have a video of me explaining lot size, because lot size looks like a very complex concept to people. So I'll break it down. But yeah, I hope I was able to provide a lot of value this evening. And if you have any questions, I think now is the time to raise your hand so that we can help each other out. Can I resend the slides to the group? I don't have any slides. The Google this thing we are using is on the group description. You see the link. Just click the link on the group description. On the group description, you see the this thing that we have been using. What do they call it? You see the um course outline that we have been using. Let's just use that word, course outline. See the course outline that I've been using. So who else is raising their hand? Okay, I could have just lowered all the hands by myself. Yeah. So I'm sure nobody has any questions. Is that what I'm getting? Can the recordings be sent to the group? Yes, I will send the recording. It's just that this is 1 hour. This about 1 hour now, so the recording might be a lot of data, but I'll send it sure. So I guess I was very self-explanatory. If there are no questions, that's really nice. Or you know what? I'll open the Forex, the Melambi trading group for maybe 15 minutes. Get some questions for those that are maybe shy or whatever to ask their questions. And from there, I will not be attending to any funny questions because some people might not have joined this group and they will be asking questions like, yeah, but from today's class, if you have any questions, I'll open the group for like 15 minutes or thereabouts so you guys can ask any questions that you have. So, as I said, I want to move very, very, very quick, very, very, very fast. Melambi trading. What? A lot of people join. So bad for them. For those that were in the class today, I'll be opening the group for 15 minutes. Ask questions relating to what was taught today. Thanks a lot. Yeah, so I guess people can now access the group. So thanks for coming, guys. I really appreciate you guys for sticking through to the end and me being able to provide a lot of value for you guys. Yeah, hopefully I can I can produce a lot of millionaires. All right, have fun. Enjoy your. Let me stop recording. Enjoy your evening and enjoy your week.